How's it going, everybody? You know who it is. My name is Sunwoo, and in today's video we are going to take a look at the cluster synth engine inside the OP-1. In short, cluster is basically a supersaw engine, meaning it generates multiple oscillators with a saw waveform and modulates them in interesting ways in order to get a very thick sound. Let's go through the parameters one by one. First up, we have the blue parameter, and this parameter determines how many oscillators we can hear. When it's turned to 0, we only have one oscillator. And when we turn it all the way up, I think we have up to 6 oscillators. Which right now you can't hear the difference, but as we start turning up these parameters here, now we've got many oscillators and less oscillators. Also, you probably noticed when we only have one oscillator playing, it's louder than if we have multiple oscillators. So there is some kind of automation going on or normalization of the signal. I would prefer if this was a little more subtle and we would have the same volume throughout, but it is what it is. And next is the BEIGE parameter, and this parameter is called wave envelope here, but a more suiting name would be filter envelope, because this controls how the low-pass filter in this engine is being modulated. Right now, there's no filtering applied in this position, and actually this ranges from about 37, 38 to 65. There's absolutely nothing happening within the filter. If, however, we increase it further, you can hear that there's a slight start of the filter. So it starts from being a little more closed. The high frequencies are not audible, and then the high frequencies come in. So the filter is very quickly opening. And this opening time increases as we further increase the BEIGE parameter. So it's quite short right now, but it will increase as I turn it up. And finally, if we turn it all the way up, the filter stays in the closed position. So all we're getting is a sine wave. And if we turn this parameter counterclockwise from about 37 downwards, you'll notice that the filter is closing instead of opening. And again, if we turn it further, we'll change the speed at which it does this. So right now it's quite slowly closing, like this. If I turn it down further, this becomes much quicker. And if we turn it even further, which I'm going to do holding the shift button right now in order to get finer increments, you'll notice that at first the filter is closing and then opening again. And the effect of this opening and closing gets less and less, so the cutoff frequency gets higher or the modulation of the filter gets less. I'm not sure about that. Until we're at a point where the filter is almost open the whole time. Just right in the beginning you can hear how it ever so slightly opens up, as opposed to when the filter is completely open. So there's just a super short modulation in the end when it's turned down to 0. So let's go through it quickly again. Here we've got very little modulation in the beginning. And we've got the closing and opening one after the other. Then we've got the closing only of the filter with varying speeds. Then we've got the completely open filter. And then we have the opening filter with varying speeds, and at the end it just stays closed the whole time. For now, let's turn it back to no filter applied. Alright, now let's get to the interesting parameters, which are the gray and the red knob. These somewhat interact with one another, but I'm gonna start with the gray knob and let's see what this does on its own. Right now we still have only one oscillator active, but let's see what the gray knob does to this one oscillator. At 0, it doesn't do anything. I have a constant pitch in this note, so whenever I play this note, I'm getting the same pitch. But if I turn this to 99, you'll notice that each time I play the note, there is a wavering of the pitch. So each time it plays it at a slightly different pitch. And I believe that this gray knob determines how wide that range of a pitch drift is for the oscillators. So if it's at 99, the pitch can vary quite a lot. And if it's lower, the pitch won't drift as much. Now let's see what happens if we introduce more waves. First we turn the spread to 0. As you can see, we can barely perceive that there are multiple oscillators going on at the same time. But as we increase the spread, you can see the waveform starts to change as the oscillators vary more from one another. And this seems like a detune effect, but it's not a normal detune because I'm going to turn it up all the way. When I play the note, this detuning will stop at some point and the oscillators will settle. So if this was a normal detune, this would be going on and on with the oscillators shifting in and out of sync with one another. But here they settle at some point. If I turn the spread down a little bit, this settling will happen quicker, I believe. So while there might be more going on with the gray parameter under the hood than I can tell, I think the easiest way to explain it is that this determines the depth of the pitch modulation of the oscillators. And finally, let's get to the red parameter. As I said before, this interacts with the gray parameter being the depth of the pitch modulation, whereas the red parameter is the speed of the pitch modulation. So in order to hear what the red parameter is doing, we need to turn up the spread slightly. And then I'll slowly increase this, meaning I will increase the speed of the pitch modulation. And if I would increase the depth as well, we get a detuned mess. As always though, I have no proof that any of this is true. If you know any better, let me know down in the comments. And with that being said, let's try to make some sounds with this. First we got this little chord stab sound here. You can see the parameters here. Very simple envelope, and I've got a little bit of mother reverb on there. And of course I sequenced the chord, so what I'm playing is this. And then I made this little sound here with this sequence. And I'm modulating the filter envelope slightly, so it just opens a little bit. And again, we've got some reverb on there. I think the reverb sounds very good with this synth engine. And we can make it freak out by increasing the spread. But I like to keep it below 30. We can get it even more tame by turning the red value down. But of course, we can also just communicate with some alien planets. And that's all I can say about the cluster engine for now. If you want to learn more about the OP-1, about the OP-Z, or music making in general, feel free to contact me for private online lessons. Link up there or down in the description. And that being said, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would appreciate a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next video. I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, have a wonderful time. Have a Merry Christmas. Peace.